Rusty, dented, buried under layers of filler. Bad enough to be fun. The fuel tank. One big dent here, one here, and one here. Oh my god. First I used some paintless dent repair techniques. The access to the biggest dent though was non-existent. I tried a second method, inflating a tube inside. But the access wasn't good enough to put the tube in the right place. No success. Third option, hot glue. The dent was still there. Before even touching the paint, I made templates for Pinstripe Reconstruction. The paint was to be removed anyway, since the fuel tank was rusty, the left side had a lot of body filler and some makeshift repairs. So I went for the final dent solution, bonding to the metal itself. I used silicone bronze to braze in the hooks. This limited the heat. The dent was gone. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6 small dents. The fuel tank along with the tail cowl were then crushed glass blasted. It's corroded. We got 2 small pinholes here. I brazed it with silicone bronze. All the dents and imperfections needed to be filled and leveled. This is where I use body soldering. First comes the flux, then the solder itself. Why body soldering? Often called lead loading, using lead and tin is an old technique used before the invention of good synthetic fillers. It has major advantages, especially when restoring or repairing classic vehicles that are supposed to last. Tin with lead behaves like metal, because metals they are, so if you bump it, it deforms but does not break like filler does. It does not absorb moisture, unlike polyester fillers. And the last thing, if soldered properly, with rust and contaminants removed, it lasts forever and does not collapse even when applied thick. Back in the day it was applied on every body panel to fill all the imperfections. So why does barely anybody use it? It's more expensive, there are practically no people who can do it properly, it's definitely more time consuming, and lead is highly toxic. Also, the tools needed are far more expensive, like a titanium coated file. But I'm ancient. Quality over quantity. Metal over plastic. Old is gold. The emblem thread was damaged and needed to be repaired. I'm afraid there might be a bit of corrosion underneath, so I'll put some rust converter in. With the metal work done, it was time for paint. The tank was sprayed with some epoxy primer, followed by a small amount of finishing filler, and more epoxy on top of that. Next, the high build primer was applied to both, the fuel tank and the tail cowl. Both needed to be sanded before the next layers. Then a base coat and a clear coat were applied. That wasn't the end. After giving the clear coat around a week, I wet sanded the surfaces to get them ready for the pinstripes. Both elements were then sprayed with the last layer of clear coat. The only thing left was the final assembly. Well, that was it. In the final episode of this series, I'll show you what happened next and how I took this newly finished bike for a proper adventure. Watch the full build here.